I'd like to call to order Tiff Board meeting, August 3rd. I guess I'll call the roll. I'm here. Sean Kadim.
Here.
Richie Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Pam LeBeau. Absent. Seth Aiken. Absent. Linda Pereira.
Here.
Frank Marchioni.
Yep.
And Matt Thomas. Okay. We have one item for the pursuant. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting and may transmit through any media. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings and transmissions are being made whether perceived or unperceived and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. Salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I don't believe we have any citizens' input. I'll look for a motion and a second to approve the May 3rd minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second?
She said. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Tonight, this morning, we're going to talk about a proposed amendment to the tax increment financing agreement by and between Blount Seafood and Blount Realty and the City of Fall River, dated February 25th. Mr. Fiola, I guess you're going to explain it to us?
Yes, thank you and good morning. I appreciate everyone getting out early to address this matter of importance that's coming before the Tiff Board. What you have this morning before you is a proposed amendment between Blount Fine Foods and Blount Realty in the City of Fall River pertaining to an original TIF agreement dated February 25th, 2015. The reason for the amendment to the existing TIF is the fact that Blount Fine Foods is planning to expand once again at its location at 630 Current Road in Fall River. This new expansion will consist of 39,000 square feet, and it's also going to house and enclose a chiller that's most important to the overall manufacturing process. Joining me this morning is Todd Blount, who's the president and co-owner of Blount Seafoods, and I'm happy to always see Todd. Todd and I go way back to probably 2002 when Blount Seafoods actually purchased the building at its current road facility. The building was much smaller then, and actually was coming over with approximately 75 jobs at that time. I'm happy to report that right now Blount Fine Foods has more than 1,000 employees. So within a 17, 18 year period, you can see the various expansions that have taken place there. And not only has Blount expanded the facility, but they have emerged as one of the country's premier soup and food processing companies. It's a name that's nationally recognized, and I think it's very fortunate that we have them here in Fall River. And as I've said many times in dealing with particular industries, not only have we looking to continuously diversify our industrial base so that we don't have all our irons in one fire, but the fact of the matter is the food industry is pretty much recession-proof. No matter what happens, people always need to eat. And the steadiness and the stewardship upon which Mr. Blount has grown this company, I think is evident in the quality of the product and the quality of the workforce that he currently has today. Essentially, if you look at Blount over the years, they've had a number of expansions. In October 2010, the company installed an energy-efficient refrigeration system, eco-friendly water filtration system, and solar panels at the company's project to keep the business green. 2011, Blount Fine Foods completed an expansion project that added 58,000 square feet to the pre-existing 65,000 square foot Fall River site. Although the company no longer processes seafood, its focus is business model to offer artisan prepared foods and introduced a line of prepared sides and sauces. In 2011, the company received the Refrigerated Foods Processor of the Year Award by the Refrigerated and Frozen Foods magazine. Now the company is housed in a facility that represents 250,650 square feet and employs approximately 1,000 people. This project here is a $65 million project for the 39,000 square foot expansion, and the equipment will allow Blount Fine Foods to add a fifth chiller to their soup and food manufacturing process and allow the company to maintain its competitive edge in the food processing sector, which is very competitive. As part of the proposed expansion, they project to create an additional 70 full-time opportunities within 7 years. What is being offered as part of the amendment to the 2015 agreement is a, let me see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, a 12-year amendment to the existing TIF starting in FY '24. You can see right here, does anybody have value, certificate of value? See, I don't know if you saw that time. So essentially what we did is we're keeping the same terms and conditions that they had in the 2015 agreement, in which they were offered a 60% yearly exemption. As you know, when we put these things together, we make a best faith effort to try to identify what the actual cost savings will actually be, but that's actually not determined by us, by myself, or by this board. It's actually determined by the Board of Assessors, who will actually do a valuation, and that valuation will be codified, and the schedule will be then applied to the valuation established by the Board of Assessors themselves. So, again, I think this is another opportunity to facilitate the sound growth of Blount Fine Foods. Like I said, they've been nothing but a stalwart in the community in terms of both helping the community and also, leading the way with regard to new and innovative, energy efficient and manufacturing processes. And I'm hoping that the TIF board will find it acceptable and approve this particular proposal so that we can bring it forth to the council at its August 16th meeting. I will be happy to entertain any questions, and I'm sure Mr. Blount will also be happy to entertain any questions that you may have.
Mr. Kadim?
Just two questions. So the chart that you had given us, so
Yes.
the first one, the incremental assessed value starts at the 5.9 million, then
Yes.
goes to 4.5. What's the reasoning for that?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's
Is that a typo?
that's a typo, I
Okay.
apologize, yeah. That's actually, that should be a 5.925 all the way down, yes.
Okay,
I apologize for that.
All right. And then my other question, just in terms of the 70 jobs that are going to be created, do you have an estimate as to what the salary range would be for those jobs, or hourly rates?
Yes, you want to talk from here a second? Yeah, we broke out the different job classifications. The majority is still the entry level. Even today's world, entry level is more, higher than it used to be. And within that range is $15 to $20. And then the other, I can't remember that's about 40 to 50 of the jobs. The other 20 are management, and the management jobs are between $50,000 and $100,000 on an annual salary basis.
Perfect.
So it's, and then because in some of those $15 to $20 jobs, you could extend up to $23 because there's second and third shift. So they have like a differential. So the top end is 23 of the entry level.
Great.
And there's also healthcare benefits and.
Then obviously, they're all eligible for the full Blount program. We only have one program for all hourly and salaried people.
Perfect. So I support this TIF. I want to thank you for your investment and commitment to the continued commitment to Fall River. I know the TIF speaks to retaining 950 employees out of
Yeah.
1,000 plus that you already
Yeah.
have, plus creating the 70. So I think it's a great win for the city of Fall River. So I'll be supporting it.
Excellent. Any other questions?
I would just like to echo Mr. Kadim's comments. He's been, as Ken said, a stalwart to the community, and we'd like to thank you and your team for your continued investment and commitment in Fall River.
Excellent.
I just have a comment.
Yeah,
Yeah, just a comment that I have, or a question to you. How are you at getting employees? Are you
Great
having
question.
difficulty getting employees?
Yes, so two things. One of note, we're a national company now. We built some facilities around the country, and since this 2015 TIF, we filled out our commitment to that last project, and then everything that happens inside. And then we went to McKinney, Texas, and have 100,000 square feet there in Portland, Oregon. So of the 4 facilities now, obviously Fall River is our preference for like 6 reasons. That you could probably come up with the 6. I just said 6, but it's at least, it's probably 10. People, location, partnership, we live here, the waterfront, on and on. Anyway, so when it comes to finding people, those 2 other locations actually were harder, just as a point of reference. But yes, it's difficult. We still have 200 positions open, and probably 100 of those are in Fall River. And they just stay open. And so it's very, very difficult. So then what happens is the other employees are kind of like pitching in. So if there's 1,000 people, they're each needing to do a little bit extra. So, but we do think, one of the only silver linings of the economy being, shifted in this next 12 months is it could right-size employment so that there's still a job for everybody, but there's not too many openings and there's not too many people looking for jobs. I think we can get back to the sweet spot. So I'm hoping this should come in the right timing between the economy, between the world, that we should be able to, certainly we're going to fill the 70 jobs, but, any other open job, we want it still to be filled as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Linda.
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I think we should probably do a roll call on this one, so everybody's on board. Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Marchioni?
Yes.
Thomas is absent. Seth is absent. Linda Pereira?
Yes.
Sean Kadim?
Yes.
Pam LeBeau is absent. Mayor Coogan? Yes. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Look forward to it.
You're a great part of the community.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Second item is a discussion of a tax increment exemption agreement by and between Hanover Properties and the City of Fall River dated April of 2019.
Yes.
Mr. Viola.
Sure, thank you. So this, this particular agenda item pertains to the Lincoln School. As you know, the city and High Development Corporation actually entered into, High Development entered into an agreement with the former owner of the property to essentially step into that former owner's shoes and carry out the property in accordance with what was initially proposed as part of the initial agreement itself. When that agreement was done, and subsequent to the time the school was purchased and some due diligence was done on it, the former owner of the property received a tax increment exemption from the city, which was in keeping with other ties in the form of the fact that it was for a 10-year period. The first 5 years, there was an 80% savings on the new tax value being created, and the balance of the 5 years, there was a 20% tax savings on the new value being created. These types of incentives are important to the project, but at this point, there is no current tie on the property. I do suspect that the current owner or the former owner of the property himself is actually going to submit to Matt Thomas a request to rescind the existing tie so as to allow the new owner of the property to come forth at some point in time to actually seek a tax increment exemption in accordance with the same terms and conditions
Bless you, Richard.
that the previous owner had on it. So nothing to do today, just wanted to put it on the radar screen, have you guys mull it over, start thinking about it. We'll probably have a meeting in the next 4 to 6 weeks to specifically address that as the new property owner that has the agreement on it moves forward to the closing on the property itself.
So Ken, I'm sorry, so he was getting nothing even on the assessed value at that time, whatever it was?
He
The
was.
TIF was not gonna start until he developed.
The tie.
The tie, I'm
The
sorry.
tie doesn't begin until you get a certificate of occupancy. So there was no tax savings, there was no new value created.
Yeah.
There was no exemption against that new value because no one's created. So the former owner was actually just paying taxes in accordance with whatever the current tax value of the property
When it
was.
was, okay.
Yeah.
So I was gonna ask the same question. So the benchmark is the occupancy?
Occupancy,
Okay.
yes. That's how they're all,
Okay.
yeah. We may be changing the language a little bit because we may be looking at substantial completion or occupancy. We're just trying to figure that out right now.
I'm a little concerned with this one, just that I have questions
Sure.
on it. Because I believe that the city sold the Lincoln School for what, 5,000?
To be honest with you, I'm not 100%
Yeah, it's
sure.
probably
It's
5,000.
I think it was 5,000. And unfortunately, the attorneys at the time didn't place restrictions on it, that if something wasn't done by a certain time, that it would revert to the city. When was this property initially purchased? 2015, 16?
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
Somewhere in that vicinity. So the property stays vacant. There's other properties, not just this one, but there's other schools that I have concerns with that. People bought and they're sitting on them doing nothing. And in this particular case, I mean, we know that there was a lot of stuff that went on with this particular owner. And what is the city going to get out of this? I just kind of feel like we should get something. I know that legally documents weren't filled that perhaps should have been, but it's troublesome to me. I'm just
So what
hoping
did
that
we
the
say?
city
Richard,
gets something.
The taxes.
Are they up to date?
were current, right?
I would, yeah, I haven't heard anything that they were not
Oh,
current.
okay, I thought it was part of the deal.
Actually,
Was it
that
like
comes from the collector's side, Frank.
I'm
but-
sorry, but that was part of the deal,
Yeah.
that the
Right.
taxes were
Yeah,
current.
the taxes, I think.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
current.
they've always been
And
current.
they have to be current in order
Yeah.
to apply,
Correct.
right?
Right.
So,
Before the closing, they have to be
Yeah, I
made
see,
current,
yeah.
so.
Yeah,
But the city will receive a substantial amount of funds from this new sale.
Okay, well,
No, we did get the 5, I'm not gonna say it was 10, but Sean's might be right, it was $5,000 or $10,000 when we sold it back in 15. I think this new, the new owner, after substantial negotiations between the new owner and the present owner and the city going around back and forth, will get well over, I believe, $350,000.
is the possible new owner subject to confidentiality, so we don't know who the new owner is, or will that come before us?
that's all public
That's
record.
all public
Yeah,
record.
who-
Yeah, it'd be public
Who's the new
record.
owner?
It's,
A possibility.
It's Hyde, I think it's Hyde Development.
Hyde
so it's
Development
Ken,
or Hyde Real Estate? I don't know.
Ken Monaco.
And we're getting better at these too, aren't we, with
Yeah.
clawbacks and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
As far as these ties.
There's never been a clawback on a tie because
Yeah.
typically, they meet, it's not job creation, it's the development of the number of units, right? So,
yeah, they move quite fast on it.
yeah,
Yeah.
so ties are a lot less complicated than the TIFs because once you create the units, then you've met your obligations, right?
I know that this is only up for discussion, and I personally would like to look into it a little bit more.
Yeah, that's, I just
I
wanted to
just-
put it on the horizon that it's gonna be forthcoming. Yeah.
You know, there's some questions that I have in my mind that I'd like to just look into. But, yeah,
Yeah, no,
we'll
actually.
see
was
what
only a
happens.
discussion tonight,
Right,
right?
Discussion, no
exactly,
votes.
Yeah, yeah.
I
exactly.
keep saying tonight, it's this morning, but it feels like night.
Yeah.
Any further questions for
No.
Mr. Fiola?
No.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Fiola. Any new business to come before the TIF board today? Any old business? I'll entertain a
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you.